It's preparing it right now, so got it.
So you're going to start, huh?
Yeah, we'll just both talk together.
Okay.
Preparing it right now, so got it. Hey, Stephen, how you doing?
I'm very, very well. Thank you, Martine.
That's
Good
good.
afternoon here in Southern California. What's going on?
Stephen, I want to talk about affection versus sex. And I know that we talked recently, and there's two distinctions it's a distinct difference between sex and affection. And since you had talked to me about that the other day, what I wanted to do is kind of just share that with people, because I've been exploring that. I've been exploring that concept of sex, and I love sex. I'm sure you love sex. It's great. And to me, I've looked at the idea of affection, and I have found a lot more depth in that. And I wanted to get some ideas from you, like, what's your take on that?
Well, it starts with, we all like sex. That's kind of a given. Like, we like to eat and we like to sleep. The way I started is that when you're talking about a relationship between two grown-ups, quite often the desire, the initial trigger, I call that the hormone cocktail. That what happens is we physiologically and psychologically and emotionally get triggered, and a whole bunch of hormonal changes take place within us. That's good. That's primary. That's the procreation of the species. That's very fundamental stuff. If you talk about affection, you're talking about a much deeper, more profound aspect of being a human. If you're talking about men, you're talking about affection being something that they have been sort of conditioned not to have a whole lot of. They've been taught to be producers, performers, play hurt, be deniers. So affection comes from the loving man that I am, and I can share it with whom I choose, but it has none of the dramatic aspects of the hormone cocktail.
So let me ask you about that. So I like you said, so we have been conditioned. What you're saying is we're conditioned not to have a lot of affection. So that's us men, correct?
Yes.
Talk about that, like, specifically, if you don't mind.
Well, you're born, you come out of the mother's womb, and that's the love that you know. I mean, there's nothing more loving on the planet
Absolutely
than the mother who births you. Now, you're
hear that, Mom?
adored, and you're adored and held and cooed to and fed, and diapers are changed. All kinds of wonderful, affectionate things happen in the first couple of years in your life. But pretty soon you're told to be good. You're told to not talk to her that way. You're told to be good in school. You're told, you have a lot of instructions from your entourage, from the people around you and the places in religion and education and your family, that pretty much tell you to be kind of muted, cut down, not so much from you. And if you go by a school, first, second, third grade, if you look at the little boys and little girls lining up for first grade, you have a wonderful opening. You see the little girls are standing there and they're talking to each other, holding their lunch pails. What are the boys doing? They're shoving each other, they're punching, they're dipping around, they're doing all kinds of physical stuff. Now, the adults say, calm down, be good, don't get in trouble, don't speak back. That wildness in the little boy is constantly being questioned and trying to round it off and trying to make it into something that's compatible with civilization. The wild man in the little boy is not compatible with civilization, and that's where affection comes in. He has to have access to his wild man continuously in order to be the affectionate man that he is.
Interesting. God, you said so much, and it makes sense and doesn't make sense, because where my brain's going, Dr. Frueh, is my brain goes to, I think I understand this, but I don't understand this. And I think the part that I don't understand is because there's a complete disconnect to what you're saying. Like, I understand the words, but I'm not connecting to like how it actually happened. So I'm gonna give it to you, and you kind of stop me and point, like, that's where I'm talking about. So I'm going to go back to when I was a kid. So I'm a kid and I play across the street, and the girl's Tracy, is like my best friend's Tracy. She's she's like my best friend, and we go and hide around the corner and we kiss and we hug and we do all these little things. That's a lot of fun. And we don't let nobody know about that. Like nobody knows about that. She's like my little girlfriend, right? And then and so I already know that I'm supposed to hide something, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I already know that I'm supposed to hide something. And then we play. And we play basketball, we play football, we play, baseball, we play all these sports. And
Sure.
in those sports, there becomes danger. There's danger in those sports because we're competing. And then I have guys in my neighborhood that don't want to be beat, that don't want to look foolish, that don't want all these things. And so now I'm dealing with danger. I'm dealing with I could get hurt. And so then I'm learning about my own strength, my own power, and where I am in the food chain, if you will, right? And so I'm starting to learn these things. And then as I go to school, I have a respect for the teachers, for the principal. And I don't know like where the boundaries are. I'm kind of because I'm used to being home. Now I'm out there. So now a different set of boundaries are given to me. Is this what you're talking about?
In a sense, yes and no. The socialization of the male child, what you're talking about in school, it depends on who's mentoring him and who's interacting with him at home and so forth. Whether as he is in that competitive world and with other guys, and as he plays with girls and he sneaks stuff and stuff, if he doesn't have any guidance, he's left to the guidance of the other kids, mostly his other male friends, and they're being told to do certain things with girls, that you don't talk dirty around girls, you talk dirty around your friends. You don't touch girls in a certain way. You don't let girls know when you're hurt. You just say, I'm okay, and you walk off. You do a lot of things that are the tribe kind of conditions you to be this male that the culture wants you to be. Now that's, of course, that's an overgeneralization, and of course, there's plenty of exceptions. But it's the way I see it. I see that the male is being shaped from practically the first moment of his life.
Yeah.
And okay, and so then if he gets up into teenage and has this enormous hormonal rush around girls and wants to be closer to them and wants to be curious about them, wants to discover them. What is this rush all about? Well, the culture will say it's about him wanting to have sex with them. But for me, it's about his being more than wanting sex. He's very curious. He wants to peek under the skirt. He wants to peek down the blouse. He wants to say, who are you really? What's going on? And what does it have to do with me? What do I do with this?
All right, let me throw
Well,
something in there at the same time. So, and at the
Yeah.
same time, if I go back to my memory, at the same time, I enjoyed the connection I had with women that I wasn't interested in, that were my friends. I enjoyed
Yes.
the connection with my little girlfriend. I enjoyed that connection. And it wasn't always about
Yes.
peeking under the skirt. It wasn't always about looking down the blouse. It wasn't always that.
Right.
And there was a connection. That's the
Yes.
affection I think you're talking about. Is that correct?
I think so. Yes.
Okay.
I think so.
So now I have,
That's kind of like a healthy brother-sister thing.
yeah. But let's say it's my
Yeah.
girlfriend, and I have,
Yeah.
and I have my girlfriend, and I'm walking to school and I'm holding her hand. I'm not necessarily looking down her dress. I enjoy that part
Right.
of the relationship. I enjoy the part that we're going to talk to each other on the phone. I'm going to enjoy the part that we like give each other like a cool little kiss at, however you can kiss in the, junior high school, you do your own
In your
version of that.
imagination, how old are you there?
Let's say that I'm
In your imagination.
12, 13. Let's say I'm 12 or 13.
Okay.
So,
All right.
A little exploration, but really nothing's happening. And I'm feeling, as well as like the like I'd like to do something sexual, but I'm also feeling this other thing, which is a closeness to that person. Like it's an individual closeness. I'm not feeling it with any other person. And then when I think about it as an adult, I can't remember it completely, but I would imagine that as 58 years old, that the connection that I want to feel is similar to that connection of it's us. It's special between us. So then I think about, now I'm in bed and, it's just a regular night in bed. We're not having sex, just a regular night in bed. And so I'm going to take my marriage, and I'm going to take, now that I'm divorced, now I'm in a different relationship. So I'm taking the relationship I had after 20 something years, which we were now kind of sleeping. There was kind of like this big area between us that we were sleeping. And I didn't distinguish affection. I didn't really think about affection as a concept in my marriage. All I thought about is either sex or what I wasn't getting. And I didn't think about affection. I wasn't getting affection. I was upset that I wasn't getting validated. I was upset that I wasn't getting heard. I was getting upset that I wasn't being understood. And now that I'm out of that relationship, I can tie that into what I wasn't getting as affection. It was like understood, validated, to have a meaning in that relationship it's not sex. It's a form of affection. Is that accurate?
Well, I would change the word for you there. I'd say that what you were interested in and couldn't get was genuine curiosity. Affection gets very close with a man and a woman to curiosity. Who are you really? And that means that you have some empathy. That means that you have some real interest in the person. And that means that the hormone cocktail that may be raging inside you is at rest at that moment. That the hormone cocktail isn't determining your behavior and your words and all of that, but you're exploring the relationship. That's curiosity. And as you do, there's an affectionate flow of energy. It might not be very physical at that moment. In my mind, the flow of energy is what I'm calling affection. If a young woman is interested in me, there's affection. If I'm interested in her, there's affection. The hormonal cocktail is not driving that. It's a human dimension. Gee, she's interesting. Gee, she's fun. Gee, we held hands on the way to school. Most every male listening to the podcast can identify with that.
Yeah. Okay.
When it gets
keep going.
sticky is when he gets anxious and isn't anymore able to hold the center, which is his curiosity, and he starts wanting to kind of short out the natural curiosity. A lot of times sexuality, having sex, is a way of trying to get comfortable, trying to get out of that uncomfortable place where I don't know what to do or where to go.
So sex becomes a like a disconnection in a way.
Yeah, and a connection in a different way, and a disconnection of something else, and which is more important.
Let me interrupt you then real quick. So I enjoy curiosity. I wrote a book called The Curiosity Theory, right? So I enjoy curiosity, enjoy affection, enjoy sex, enjoy all those things. And kind of what I'm hearing you say, and you might not be saying this, so I just want to check and see what you're saying, is that if the focus is to have sex, and there's nothing wrong with sex, but if the focus is to have sex and that doesn't include curiosity, then what I'm thinking is like sex becomes a thing you do, but it doesn't have affection with it. And then so because that could be missing, then it's like trying harder to get something and yeah, great orgasm, all that stuff's really great. and there's something also missing from that, which could be
Well,
the curiosity, the affection, the exploration, the discovery.
yes, which I think we are meant to do. And so, in the situation that you're describing, if you actually have intercourse, if you let go of the curiosity because you can't stand the tension, you can't stand not knowing or not feeling effective, you feel over your head some way. So if you go with the hormonal cocktail and you have sex, quite often that's the beginning of the end of the relationship. Because the old idea in mostly church circles was don't have sex until you get married. Well, part of that was religious, but part of that was just smart psychology. Allow the affection and allow the curiosity, allow that to kind of percolate and cook in the relationship. The minute you've short circuited it by having sex, then a lot of things can happen because of that. A lot of things that are not relational, definitely not relational. There's something
Awesome.
else. There's
Awesome.
another word. Yeah.
Excellent. So with that, let's finish up, and I would like to re-explore this in a couple weeks. Let's do that.
Me too. Me too.
Awesome.
Good to talk to you.
Absolutely. Stephen, thank you very much. We'll talk to you soon.